Okay, now let's take a look at how we can create an internal spring just to make it more interesting. So when it expands, we would actually see a spring here coiling and expanding and squashing. So what we're gonna do is let's actually hide our polygons for now and hide our joints. We don't need to see them anymore at this particular time, and also let's go ahead and hide our IKs. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create a spring between these two IKs, just as a reminder, looking at our geometry here. This is sort of the inside distance when the piston is closed. There we go, let's hide that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with a NURB circle, and we're going to point snap it here, and we're also going to create a curve. Let's actually use EP curve, so we can just simply snap 2 points, point snap one here and point snap the other and right there. So we've got a very basic curve in here, and I guess at this point we no longer need to see our locators. Let's go ahead and hide them. And what we're gonna do is just simply take this geometry, and first we're gonna create a spiral by taking these two curves and extruding them. We're gonna extrude tube along the path, hit extrude. There it is. Let's look at our polygons here and make sure that we've got the proper radius. So I'm going to be grabbing the bottom circle and scaling it. Because of the construction history, everything will scale appropriately. There we go. And let's hide our polygons for now. And the next step, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our extrude, and we're gonna really go in and rotate it. We're gonna rotate it 9,000 degrees like this, so we get a very spiraling isoparms here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use one of these isoparms for our further extrude, and let's go ahead and create another little circle here actually. And while we're at it, let's go to our front view and find an isoparm that starts. Let's hide joints. Let's grab this one, so it's kind of lined. It's easier to align things. Now that we've got our isoparm selected, let's go ahead and duplicate surface curve. Now I've got a nice looking spiral, and which we no longer need to have history. We can delete the history and get rid of this surface. Just keep it simple. We no longer need this line here. We can delete that as well, and probably get rid of this circle also. Let's take this circle and we're gonna curve snap it. So here's our curve snap tool. Middle mouse, click on the curve, and it's gonna snap. And we can go ahead and let's go ahead and do an extrude right away, and then we'll deal with the rest. So here is our weird looking extrude, but that's because our curves are not properly oriented, so we're gonna start orienting them. There we go. And as a result, we're getting a nice spiral here. So the better we orient things, and this is why I wanted to use one specific isoparm, so I can straighten it better. And let's have that point along the curve, right, just like that. Okay, now we've got a nice looking spiral, which we're gonna use for our animation here. We're gonna preserve the history here. This is just gonna stay like that. And the next thing what we're gonna do is we're going to take our curve here. This is our curve, which we want to manipulate further. Let's open up our hypergraph so we can see our hierarchy here, and we're gonna group it. Control G. Here we created a group, and because we want a pivot point here, and we're going to, let's hide our NURB surfaces so we can see things better, and let's hit insert, and we're gonna place the pivot point of this group. We're basically actually gonna go ahead and snap that to that locator here, so it's at the bottom of the curve. Now what happens is if we're gonna grab our scale tool and scale it up and down, it's going to nicely squash from the base. If we're gonna show our NURB surfaces, we can actually see that that in turn affects our extrude and expands our curve. There we go. So now we kind of prepared our spring here, and in the next video we're gonna take a look at how to actually put things